Buenas noches.
Good evening. Congratulations once again. A couple of things, if you can talk about what does it mean, what does this victory mean specifically against DC in the rain and everything? And I also note that there are no more words to be said about Messi or about Leo, but can you describe what he did tonight? Thank you. Well, it's an important victory because at the end, this week we've won the 6 points that we needed to win here at home. We have gone up in position in the selection and the classification. We have several games open still. That if we get good results will get us even further up in the positions and to end higher in the classification, which we know versus the objective is basically to go from one victory to be in the playoffs and then try to get as to do the best as possible with the advantage that you get because you can play at home. And about Leo, whatever. Another normal night for him, which is absolutely abnormal for any other player. The capacity not just to convert, to make the goals or to make the team play, to find situations, to take the team with him when it was very needed. When we were in trouble, when we were in difficulties, we've been saying it at the end, is the advantage of having him. And today we could take advantage of that.
In the front, please.
How did Matteo Silvetti play? Of course, he had a penalty. But then he was seen much more attacking. I saw Toto very well. He's doing well. Beyond the penalty, which is something that happens, he is a young player that's going to give us a lot, unfortunately. For us, it's something very good for him. He's going to go after New York. He's going to go to the World Cup with Argentina, but I believe that he is a young player that has a lot of projection. He could project well. He's also been tasked with helping us now and in the future of the club, and he's just adapting. He's coming back after an injury who kept him out for 4 months, but the truth is that he is very well. In the training, he is a young player that is always wants to improve. He's very professional. He's very dedicated. He looks bigger. He looks older than what he is, really. So nothing. I think he came in, he helped the team a great deal, and I'm happy for him. Oscar? Hello, Javier. Congratulations. What is the change in the middle defense when you were playing? You did it. It surprised me. The two changes that you did. Fry, Cello, and the other one. And another thing. How did you work with Leo yesterday during this time? Because if you see him very calmly after his events. Well, no, the changes, the substitutions, we were tied, and we believe that we needed more depth with Jan, and Jan could give us more depth because of his speed. Also, we needed to generate or to have more people between the lines. The idea of putting Baltasar in that position. We started with playing one way, and 35 minutes after the first half, we needed to have more people inside. We decided to have Renoir go longer and put Jordi in the middle The first few minutes of the second half, we continued with that idea, but we believed that it was better to Jordi play outside and put a better foot like Baltasar that couldn't find anything between the lines. And from then, they played one-on-one and they connected with Leo, and it had a better foot. That's why we put Noah in the central and Noah to go to the right, and Gonzalo had a yellow. There was a risk of being expelled. And Chelo was a little bit of characteristics, taking into account that Chelo has 4 yellows, and we're also working with that. But now was the idea to generate more play in the inside with a more offensive player, putting Jordi and put him from the side and start to go to the left more, because in the first half it cost us more. Javier Rodriguez, congratulations, that's fifth. The team, not me fifth, the team is fifth. Coach, about Silvetti's penalty. Even though it didn't have an impact in the game, the match, starting with the playoffs, the penalties is something that you can work on to have a definition. Maybe there is a match that has to be settled by penalties. Are you establishing that? No. That has no sense. At least I don't believe that. The players normally, of course, we have a very experienced kickers that are very used to it, and within the possibilities we have, there is a player that is confident. In this case, Leo gave it to Toto, that surely as a gesture of having to be able to have the first goal, in that sense, that I think was very gracious. Unfortunately, it didn't happen, but after that, we have players with a lot of experience that have kicked. In League Cup against Necaxa, we had to finish, and we always try at that point that the people that have more confidence at that moment, if there's something that you cannot train is penalty. The context can't be, it's not like doing 1,000, but one with the pressure. You can do 1,000, but one with the pressure that the player feels at that moment, it's impossible to replicate. So we try to listen to the player. Clearly, there are players that are more used to kicking than others, and after that, of course, having Leo, the normal thing, of course, is for him to kick. In this case, he gave it to, he seeded it, and he's done it in his career many times. That, wanting to involve somebody who needs that more clearly than him, it's a very nice gesture that he's done many times in his career. Fifth win. The time Inter Miami is in the 5th place. Everything's going well in these last few games. Are you worried that does it worry you that the rival had a lot of offensive possibilities? The work, because you hit the defense, but also everybody. Work as a defense. Are you worried about that? Today, I believe that we gave up 2 goals, but it had to do with transitions that in the work of the defensively the team lower blocks and coming back didn't do it wrong. The high pressure that we knew that when they play Ventec, we didn't have to do. In Washington, when we went to theirs, when Tech plays, they try to bring the rival to finish playing long, and from their physical qualities to be able to control and start playing in the second goal. But our idea was try to make that first movement comfortable, and we've done it well. We did it well for them. Against them, I'm sorry, and short, but today some mistakes, they penalized us a lot, And afterwards, of course, DC United is the last one in the classification, but there's 4 games. They hadn't lost in the last 4 games with their new coach. We've seen an improvement with a new coach, and they won against New York and New York. They went to Orlando without one player for a long time. Sometimes you believe that when you are confronting a rival of this kind of characteristics, that perhaps is in the last, they don't have anything to lose. It's worse because they play very freely. There's nothing to lose. And I think that in general, the team, beyond that, at some points with some transitions, we suffered the second half because after the tie, when we started moving a little faster, had to do that, the replacements came in very fresh. The last goal they did because of a loss, we could have finished with a bigger difference. Last question, Eduardo. Congratulations, Javier. You have the best attack in the league, and the defense in the East is the most beaten, even though you're still having games, you still have a lot of games. So are you changing your tactics to try to find the balance in a team that has great figures for attack, but you also have a lot of absences because of the calendar has been very long for you? What is the system that has given you the best safety? We've played always with all the matches in defense. We all try to play 4-4-2, but clearly I understand that, and it is a preoccupation and a task of me to continue to work and insist to identify the different matches, because I can tell you for sure, against the game with PCG, with very good teams, the team defended very, very well with teams that were they have a lot of history, a better history in the League Cup, except for the final game. We've had to play a game at Necaxa, 50, 60 minutes against men with one few, until they kicked out a Necaxa player. We did it rather well. I believe that, and I said it after Charlotte, our preoccupation now is that when we are behind in the results, we go nuts and we lose control, and we end up playing, the team loses its form. And we have to understand that we're in a league that the last thing we have to do is to lose our form, because that gives you the possibilities to be able to come back from a loss. And we have to work this in the last 6 games of the regular season, where we have to prepare them for what is coming. You know that the details are going to be the key for the team to continue to progress in this competition. And clearly, it is my responsibility and the coaching staff to, as trainers, as coaches, to try to convince the players to do that from the first day. I said, clearly we have very good players that win games, but the defense system is going to give us the chance to win the championships. Some of them clearly we didn't do, but this is the objective, that in the next 6 games that we have, to prepare the team to strengthen that phase, that area. Thank you, Coach. This is the end of the press conference.